Kwa majina mimi naitwa Boniface Mumanyi, ninafanya kazi ya Baringo County, mimi ni snake farm manager. Kazi yangu ni ya kuangalia afya ya wanyama. Ile kazi ambayo tunaenda kufanya kwa vijiji sana sana ni kuenda kuchukua nyoka yenye imepatikana, baadaye tuiachilie. Hello. Mzuri, sema.
Nilikuwa nakusanya takataka. Alafu nikaona nyoka.
Wapi?
Hapa Njimba hivi. Sijui kama mtakuja kunisaidia.
Okay. Unaiona kala yake?
Inakaa hivi brown.
Tunakuja.
We take all our snake calls seriously, the same way we do with snake bite. We don't ask, was it poisonous or not? We just take every snake bite as serious until we have dealt with it, and we do the same with snake calls. We carry our snake sticks, and we carry a sack to put a cobra or a mamba in, or a smaller snake. I've got some small sacks in my rucksack as well. We carry a box, because often puff adders and things like that, they're actually better to put in a box. There's less handling. Because of the way you hold the head on a puff adder, it's very different. We tend not to bag them unless we absolutely have to. Our rule is don't get bitten. We take our work very seriously, and yeah, snake bite is the last thing we want to have to deal with on one of ourselves. Daniel, utuoneshe iko wapi? Hebu simama nyuma kidogo basi. Jojo. Okay, it's a brown house snake. So you'll see he'll try and bite because he's a little bit upset. Hii nyoka hana sumu. Unaona iko na mistari hapa nyuma ya kichwa, hapa nyuma ya macho. Inatoka kutoka huko na kuja hivi. Alafu macho yake inakaa kama paka. Huyu inaitwa brown house snake. Kwa hivyo hana sumu. Hana sumu. So a lot of these ones at the coast have these nice little red markings, and you can see this one's had an injury here before that's got better, and that's because they eat rats. So they're constrictors like pythons are.
Yeah.
They'll catch the rat prey and coil around it, and then from there they're able to swallow the whole rat.
Yeah.
And then
Nilikuwa mtazamo wangu naona nikiona nyoka nimeona adui yangu, kwa sababu nikiona nyoka wakati mwingi nichukue fimbo, jiwe, nimalizane na yeye.
Okay, we'll go and let her go somewhere.
Mwaka nimefanya nipige simu kwa sababu nimetembelea kituo cha snake farm na tukapata maelezo kiasi kwamba haistahili kwamba tuwe nyoka. Tukiona nyoka basi inatakikana kwamba tuhifadhi. Ndio maana nimepiga simu aje achukuliwe apelekwe kule ambako inatakana awe.
So you see, even venomous snakes, we need to collect them because if they're useful in the venom program, we use them to make anti-venom, and that's such an important part. It's probably the most important ingredient in making an anti-venom is to get venom from the snakes that are in the area that you're living in. Baringo is a snake farm. We don't do snakes for meat or anything like that, or skins. We milk venomous snakes for venom, and this venom is then desiccated or freeze-dried, and in that form it is then sold, and it is used for two things. It is used in the manufacture of anti-venom, and it is also used in medical research. So anti-venom is quite complicated. The first and most important thing you need in the manufacture of anti-venom is you need snake venom. So the snake venom itself has to be collected from a snake. We call it milking. And so we actually get it to bite onto a glass container with a membrane over the top. You then need to process it correctly, because if you don't, it just spoils. So I'm just going to show you the fangs. You can see the fangs in the top of the mouth there. You see those sticking out? Now that's actually where the venom comes out of. They are hollow like a doctor's hypodermic needle. You'll see on our glass here we've got a membrane, and so we just get the snake to bite into that. There we go. So then what we do is we squeeze very gently, and that tiny amount of venom that has gone in is actually what it is. So now what we have to do is put the snake back, and that is often the dangerous bit. So what we do is we try to coil the snake up so that I don't have a bit that's going to wind onto my skin anywhere, and then put it back in the cage. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is some of the venom that we've just taken out from that green mamba. You'll see it has a thick based bottom, but just if you look very carefully, you'll see a tiny amount of venom there. If you want to make anti-venom, you have to have the most important raw material is the venom from the snake that you want to make an anti-venom for. So in this case, that venom we have collected from that green mamba, it can be used to make an anti-venom for a green mamba. If you want to treat a puff adder, it will not help you. Of our venomous snakes that need treatment with anti-venom, puff adder is by far the snake that bites more people. And that's not because it's fast, it's actually because it's very slow. So it sits on a pathway, somebody comes walking down, they'll step on it or jostle it with their foot, and then the snake will bite. So in Kenya, we have a number of different species of cobra. Because it's a big snake and it does spit, it also has a massive, massive venom yield. And so really not a snake that you would choose to be bitten by. But because we live in a place where there are a lot of different species of venomous snake, we need to collect venoms from all the different species. So one of the most important things we're doing is collecting venom samples from around the country to understand it. It's pure animal protein, it's an enzyme. You then inject that into a large animal, a donor animal. For many years they've used horses. So you inject a tiny quantity into that animal, and over a period of 14 to 18 months it will build up an immunity against that snake venom. So you then extract blood from the horse, separate the clear liquid, which is the serum, and then in that form it is then packed in a 10 cc vial, and it needs to be kept refrigerated. It will go bad if you don't. When you're bitten by a snake, that is what they will use, and that is injected intravenously, preferably a doctor in a decent medical facility, but it works very, very well. The problem is if you have anti-venom that was not made correctly or was not made using the correct species, it's not going to help you. So one of the biggest problems the world has seen is that people have stopped putting money into anti-venom and venom research. As a result, the number of manufacturers have dropped, and now there is a big shortage of anti-venoms.
Snake bite is actually a big problem here in Tiaty sub-county. We see an average of 3 patients every day. In terms of the morbidity or the workload in the hospital, it constitutes up to 20 to 30% of the cases that we are admitting in this facility. That means it is actually the single most biggest challenge. The old mama here is a case of snake bite. He's been here for the last 3 days. He was bitten on the right upper hand. Before she came here, she actually tried traditional remedies at home. Then when she felt that was not working, then that's the time that she decided to come here. She's responded very well to treatment. We put her on anti-venom. We've put her on antibiotics. And right now, she's out of danger. You realize that most of the bites occur in a predictable way because it occurs between 7 in the evening and 9 at night, and mostly during the dry seasons. A lot of preventive measures should be done at the household level, and when you talk with the patients, they actually have no clue on how to prevent snakes from coming from the bush to the houses. I think number one, snakes come to the house, most likely they're looking for prey. You find that most of them stay with the chicken inside the house, stay with the grains inside the house, inviting the rodents, and the snake now follows the rodent and comes inside.
Siku hiyo ilikuwa kitu kama saa 3 ya usiku. Mama akalala na watoto yake kwa nyumbani. Alafu kupiga kitu kama saa 5, kasikia mtoto mwingine ameanguka chini kwa kitanda. Mama akashika mtoto akafikiria ni kama amesikia baridi. Akaona mtoto amekuwa mgonjwa na hakuelewa ni nini iliendelea. Huyo mtoto mwingine akalia kwa nyumba. Kupiga huko akaona huyo mtoto sasa ambaye anaitwa Chepchirchir Kiplagat anarusha mkono hivi. Kuangalia sasa hawa watu kuangalia akaona mtoto ameumwa. Sasa akarudi kuangalia yule mwingine ambaye alikuwa anaitwa Scholar Kiplagat. Kuangalia sasa mtoto wake akaona mtoto ameumwa na kitu. Sasa watu wakarudi kwa nyumba kuangalia nyoka anashuka kwa kitanda. Wakaua nyoka na kurudi kuangalia watoto. Kuangalia sasa huyo Scholar Kiplagat akaanza sasa kuwa mgonjwa zaidi mpaka akaaga dunia.
What one must understand is that when one is bitten by a snake, saving the life of that person depends on the distance and access, how quickly anti-venom can be accessed. You can have the best anti-venom in the world, but if it's going to take you 1 hour or 2 hours to reach that anti-venom, probably your life cannot be saved. Unfortunately, snake bites is a neglected tropical disease. It is not at the radar of the important diseases that we put at the scale of diseases that are really important to people. Secondly, snake bites actually is an occupational hazard that happens mostly to poor people, poor farmers, poor families. So as a result of that, there has not been strong emphasis on really focusing on prevention of snake bites, looking critically at the injuries that they cause, the disabilities and all these things. So probably it is a disease, it is a problem that is affecting, unfortunately, the people in the low social economic class of our country.
Kwa kweli huyu mtoto amepata hiyo shida. Na huyu mtoto hajatembea. Hata siku hiyo alikuwa karibu kwenda shule. Mwaka ina silikuwa unaona ni kama ameenda shule. Kama mpaka saa ingekuwa class 3. Anakaa mpaka anatetemeka. Anakaa kama mtoto mwenye ako na epilepsy. Sasa kama ingekuwa kwa hospitali, daktari angeona sasa hapa ingesaidiwa hivi. Na huyu mtoto hakuwa na chochote. Mwili yake ilikuwa sawa kabisa. Alikuwa anatembea. Alikuwa anachunga huyo mwingine. Hatujaona mwenye amekuja kweli kutueleza ni mambo ya nini, unless watu tu ya hii watu ya LD community wanaweza tembea na kutueleza tu mupiege compound siwe karibu. Mambo kama hiyo manyoka inaweza ingia karibu hii nyumbani. Ni hivyo tu ndio wametueleza hivi. Kependa walete tu dawa ya manyoka karibuni, alafu at least upate tu kutibiwa hata kama bado uko na transfer ya kwenda mahali mbali kidogo, at least umepata kutibiwa kidogo kuliko uende safari ndefu na saa hiyo sumu inaingia kwa mwili. Hakuna faida ya nyoka bwana, ni kitu ya kumalizwa kabisa. Kama kuna dawa ya kumalizwa, wekwe kwa hii mistuni yote hiyo nyoka ishe.
Why should we be protecting these venomous snakes? So if you were to remove them from an area, you would have a massive infestation of rodents. We know that when you have too many, they certainly bring a lot of diseases. But most importantly, they will eat all our food. And at times like now in Africa, where food is really scarce, we have to really look after our food security. Can we really afford to take the risk and have a situation where more than half our grain is being eaten by rats and mice because we have been so short-sighted that we have just killed and destroyed the venomous snakes that are in that area? So I agree that a venomous snake in your house is not a good idea, but near it is a buffalo or a lion. These animals deserve to be out in the wild, but they do their job there. And I think a very big part of it is people aren't aware of how important those venomous snakes are. But I think they're very, very important in ecology, for sure.
You know, rodents invade crops on the land, and with snakes, they reduce the number of rodents, as well as pests. Another issue is that some of the snakes, particularly those who stay under the ground, tend to assist the farmers in what we call soil aeration. It mixes the soil. Becomes also very important because we have in part of Nakuru, we have the mole snakes. Those are some of the examples of the barong snakes which are found in this region. But they are naturally non-venomous. They have no venom, but people just kill them mercilessly when they come across them in nature.
We also do a lot of work in conservation. Obviously we are working with snakes because we like reptiles. I found a hole where there's very few people are doing anything in reptile conservation. And so not just myself, but a number of my colleagues and the staff here at the snake farm in Watamu have made it our mission really to try and change people's minds on things like that. This is a lovely snake. This is a speckled bush snake. This snake is completely harmless, won't hurt anybody or anything. And yet people will kill it because they'll say, ni nyoka tu. And so it's just education. If we teach people, like most people will see a beautiful butterfly and enjoy the beauty of the animal or a bird. You don't need to go and hit it just because of that. And so once we've taught people about this, they come on board. And certainly I've seen more and more children especially aspire to the fact that, we do need to look after creatures like this. This is one of the reasons why I say to people, just try and learn your snakes, because there's some truly beautiful snakes that we have here in Kenya. And that's a good example with that one there. I do like them.
Meza, nataka tuone kidogo kama umejua kitu. Hii unaweza itambua?
Sitambua.
Hujui jua jina yake?
Hapana.
Na huyu?
Huyu namjua huyu.
Anaitwa nini?
Sandboa.
Sandboa. Hii ni mtoto lakini si kama ile kubwa. Shika hapa. Huko nyuma unasikiaje? Tofauti. Hii inakula panya. Sawa? Kwa hivyo sikiwa mahali zinapunguza panya, si ndio? So sehemu kwenye zinapatikana ni kwenye mchanga. Unaona? Na hayumi pia.
Umeshika tu.
Hayumi. Inakuwa kubwa zaidi ya hiyo na haitagi mayai kama wale wengine. Hii inazaa watoto live. Nyoka mchana si rahisi kupata. Unajua kwa nini? Inakaa sehemu ya deserts. Huko kwenye desert kuna choto na same desert areas kama kule Wajia, Mandela, Turkana. Usiku, sababu choto inapungua usiku, inatoka nje sasa. So time yake ya kutembea ni nini? Usiku. Mchana? Mchana inajificha choto. Hii ndio ile nyoka ambayo tumeshika asubuhi kutoka kwa mji ya boma ya mtu. Sababu si dangerous, nataka kuiwacha hapa. Hii mahali ni karibu na watu wanaishi, lakini haina shida, haina hatari. Watu wengine kama pale penye tulishika, unaona yule mama alisema si shida, lakini kwa sababu ya umbwa hawezi kutaka uawe. So hata hapa ni mahali ambapo hakuna tabu. Naona tukimwacha hapa ataishi vizuri.
We always advise the communities living in this country to give away chickens and hens under the bedroom, because During incubation, chickens, after hatching the hatchlings, it becomes an attraction for snakes to come into the room. Because these snakes cannot detect a prey from a distance up to 100 meters from where it is. In a radius of about 100 meters from where it is, a snake will detect a prey inside human house. Another issue is that people should be wearing enclosed shoes when you walk around on the pathways, because these animals, they stay on the roadside, particularly the buffalo. But snakes actually tend to respect human beings. If you don't provoke them, they don't actually attack somebody if you don't provoke them.
When it comes to snakes, and especially venomous snakes and snake bite, you have situations where people believe that was actually a devil. It's been sent perhaps by a muganga or a mchawi, a witch doctor or a shaman. And it takes some really hard work to actually persuade them that this is just the same way you'd be stung by a bee. This is an animal that you've just got into the wrong place, and therefore it has stung you, or in a venomous snake's case, it has bitten you, and therefore you need to know how to treat that. And so we have a lot of problems where people will not go to hospital because they don't see it as a medical problem. They see it as a witch doctor problem. The problem is that is an enzyme that's designed to kill its prey quickly, like in the mambas, or it's designed to eat away and digest the muscle tissue of the rat prey that the snake is trying to eat. When it gets in your leg, there is no chai you can make for it. There is no, black stone. There is no application that you can put, or an ointment that you're going to put on it that is going to work. And the decision, everybody has their argument until it is your 10-year-old boy and you have to make a decision. And I can tell you what I would do. I would take mine straight down to a hospital where there is a doctor who knows how to use anti-venom and has the anti-venom with him. We as Kenyans have to get everybody to agree, first of all, that a snake is an animal. It's not a shetani, and it's not a serpent. So we have to put all that away. We need to grow up, and we need to accept that a snake is just a wild animal, and it can be caught in the wrong place, and therefore it's in your house. Give it space to run away. If we can achieve that, we'll get there. We need to concentrate on the youth. We need to get the youngsters in school and in the holidays to visit places. We should be teaching snake bite at school. We should be teaching conservation of all our creatures at school. Let us make sure that we as Kenyans accept that snakes are just a different animal, and from there we move forward.